On this Wednesday morning, it is time for our Allied Cooperative program. I've got Tom Hoffman. He is the Agronomy sales lead out of the Marshfield office. Now, there's such a variety of those plant growths that I see as I drive around. What have you been seeing out there?
Yeah, you're right. We have really such a variety within our trade area and certainly listening area. We have some crops that were planted very timely and haven't had any setbacks, and they're really progressing very, very well. And there's obviously moisture in some of those areas. Almost all areas have adequate moisture at this particular time. So some of those crops look really good. And on the flip side, we have areas where it's certainly the drainage maybe hasn't been as good in various circumstances why it hadn't gotten planted and still isn't planted. And there'll be a few of those situations where they may throw in the towel on a few acres, and justifiably so. And some of those need some help. There'll be some replanting in some situations. But there really is quite a contrast. But I would say those areas where the crop is good, they'll certainly want to take care of it very well because there is very good yield potential. And the other areas are just trying to get it into the ground. I guess that's just something we'll have to deal with.
Well, what about those growth stages on the seeds that were able to get in the ground and are really taking off? Where are they at?
So the growth stages on some of that where they got in early, we do have some soybeans that are getting into certainly that V1 to into the V2 stage. So there's a second set of trifoliates coming out on some of those. And certainly we have some corn that's starting to stretch out. It's determining that, the ear size. We're getting into some V4, V5, corn, which is pivotal. But it'll be at that time where we can start, we're going to get into a fast growth stage as we keep heat, and we're going to want to make sure we have adequate nitrogen and other nutrients as it hits that fast growth stage. So, to obviously make sure there's weed control, and obviously spraying has been a challenge, whether it be due to water and here as of lately some wind, but certainly a person is going to want to make sure they take care of weed control on that bigger corn as fast as they can, and obviously take care of that other, the other smaller stuff as they can as well. But the tissue sampling it'll be pivotal for that time on these crops that are at that stage, at that early planted to determine if they need additional nitrogen and or micronutrients. So please, give that some attention. You may be a producer that's got some crops that are stretching out that needs that, and some others that's just in the ground. So there'll be quite a contrast, but certainly take care of that crop that's really stretching out well. There's very good yield potential in a lot of that.
And when you talk tissue sampling, you're figuring out what nutrients they need. How fast would those results come back if you come out and sample some of those plants?
What we do is obviously we have staff and we have some interns that we assist our agronomy advisors to get this tissue samples. If we can get them in the laboratory that day or the next day, within 1 to 2 days, we should have a result back. So here, hypothetically, if we took a sample on a Monday, we should have a result back by a Wednesday, Thursday at the latest. And so it should give adequate at the latest. It should give very good time to try to provide a treatment. So it's not a long, lengthy process. It's designed so that we can obviously collect the sample. The laboratories are very good about it. Get an analysis back, and then have a recommendation to decide what the crop needs at that stage. And then consequently, so we can do something before it gets too far along. We a lot of times think we have a lot of time, but with good growing conditions, it's amazing how the crop can stretch out.
Well, if we want to find out some more information, who should we reach out to at Allied Cooperative?
Yeah, I think certainly any of our Allied Cooperative agronomy locations, but reach out to our agronomy advisors and in any of our locations and ask some questions if some of our staff hasn't asked you to do, ask the grower to do some, but certainly reach out and we'll be able to direct and give some attention to that need. We really don't want to overlook that opportunity.
Well, we're still out walking in our fields, still pulling on our boots in a few places. It's still a little wet out there.
I was just going to say, we do have obviously some wetter ground where people are going to try to get some hay made. So hopefully those areas where they've been having that challenge here as of very late, then hopefully here now gives an opportunity to get that hay up and finally, ensiled, baled, whatever. Probably ensiled to be the most common just because the ground will be so wet.
Well, that is our Allied Cooperative program for this Wednesday morning with Tom Hoffman. He's the agronomy sales lead out of the Marshfield office. And I'm Jill Welke.